Okay. Ah. Okay, so I can change it from private to actual friends I can invite. Hello, I'm Landis, and welcome back to Satisfactory. Since the last episode, a lot's happened, but not as much as I'd like. What we're going to do today is go for a quick sort of tour of what I've been working on, what I'm planning on doing, and where we're going from this. And as the little intro should have shown, I'm toying with the idea of opening it up so some of you guys can maybe come in and sort of help build the place up or just join in. But for now, we have finished off all of the construction stuff. This base is not had much happen to it. A lot of the work I've been doing has been external. This part here literally is just making steel pipes, about 600 or so a minute, quite a lot, so we could make some various other parts of the assemblers there. But my calculations are off and this isn't enough, and I need to redo all of this again, because my ultimate goal is to have every single craftable item at 60 a minute, or 1 per second. So every second this main factory will be producing 1 of every item. I have some ideas of how to do that, and this is going to need to go up and out, and oh, there's so much to do here. With that back one just making copper wires. But there's no point exploring all of that because all of this is changing. What we will do is quickly nip down here, because I can't remember if I did it in the video or not, because it's been about a week since I've played this, due to circumstances outside of my control. As you can see here, we've finished that off. We head into here. We've finished all of this off except the hard drive, but there doesn't seem to be any more we can get from that. If we head over here, we have now finished all of this off. So we have everything, which is nice. It's very nice. Took a while, but wasn't too bad. The main shape of this building will stay the same. Some other stuff's got to change. And I've kept these things going because they're really good for building. They're basically the only materials you'll really need. These truck stations are part of a testing thing I'm working on at the moment, which they won't be staying there. They'll probably move. I'm not sure on how the whole concept works, because I like the idea of using the trucks, or the sugar cubes to be more exact, because it's a beautiful world, and from what little I've seen from other players, a lot of what they do is just conveyor belts everywhere. That's a bit boring to me. So I'm setting up kind of a network of satellite factories to feed the main factory, and this is the start of my testing with that. These are just the constructors, so I can get correct calculations on what I need and where. What we'll do now is quickly nip in the truck. Most of them will be changing, as there is still a lot of work to do on them. I've got to try and remember where they all are at this stage. But the whole idea is to at least smelt most of the stuff outside of the main factory and bring it back to sort of be done. Oh yeah, this is my big horrible conveyor belt, which will be going, and is here mainly because the initial idea was to have all of the satellite bases sort of externally powered, but that's changing as I'll be using more. The electric power pylons are pretty much the only thing I'll have running across the land. This one is copper. It's literally just mining up copper. Got one full of coal, one full of copper, because it was designed to be self-sufficient, and then obviously a truck station. Not massive, and not staying like this because I want to do more manufacturing here, and we won't need the coal plant we have. Which is a shame, but not too bad. So we'll have a quick nip up at that one. I also need to sort of get the power pylons up so I can find these places easier. Although that one's not far away from the base. The others can be a little awkward. I think we're up to 4. If not, then I'm going to miss one. You see, I've kind of been playing around with the idea of entrances. Like we got the sugar cube entrance and then the truck entrance. That may change because the sugar cubes really do struggle with entrances. Because I found out recently when you're doing the waypoints for the sugar cubes to follow, they kind of just go from point A to point B to C to D at full speed. Doesn't matter how fast you record it at, they will floor it to that next place, which can cause some issues with turning circles and the like. So we're just going to head along here. I won't be using the truck for any automation. It's literally, this is my mobile base. I have one for me because it's handy for transporting large amounts of goods very quickly across the map. And I enjoy it. It's more fun to drive than the sugar cube. Just feels bigger, stronger, more sturdy. It's lovely. Kinda glad it's in the game. But I imagine automating this is going to be a lot harder. Right, we are here. Which means I've gone too far. So we'll leave this here for a moment. I honestly forget if I've left this in the video or not. It's entirely possible this one has been done in a video and I've just forgotten. I don't think I've changed any of it. I should not be using a jetpack, should I? Don't have any fuel for it. Okay. A lot further away than I thought. Jetpack's cool as well. I've been using that a lot. It helps with the construction. Here we have our little Caterium place. Just literally just a truck station. And a very compact Caterium wire making facility. 2 smelters, 2 wire makers. And that's it. Didn't really leave much room for moving in. There's grass coming through the floor, which bothers me. Little base. A lovely little walkway, so you can come and have a picnic down here. And again, over here, the Caterium mine, which is nice. It produces a slot of Caterium to make our wires, which we don't really need too much of anymore. But this is kind of the point where I started playing with tiers and having different levels. One thing we'll see in the next base we go to, what, the last base we go to, the one I spent the most time building in, is I've been playing a lot with different layers, half layers. Are possible if you play around with a bit of the mechanics and sort of force snap to positions it's not happy with initially. I've also been experiencing a bug with the color gun. Well, I don't know if it's a bug or if it's intended, but all of the colors keep resetting back to the originals, which makes painting a pain in the backside and kind of pointless at the moment. Like, I'm trying to keep up with it, but if I don't use the basics, it doesn't stay. Now, we could take the land route to the next one, but as long as we're careful, we can drive around the water. It's a bit misty, so I'm not sure if I can see where I'm going. Because this thing tends to have a bit more leeway when it comes to being in the water than the sugar cube. As far as I'm aware, I've yet to sink it yet. Well, I've actually yet to sink anything, but I don't really want to sort of test it, because from what I've been told, that's it. Once it's sunk, it's gone. So let's stay very, very close to certain areas that I know are safe. Here we go. Ooh, onto the beach. Now, considering the last episode I left off saying I wanted to find somewhere else to get oil, pretty sure this base hasn't been seen. You might catch a glimpse of it out in the mist. Just over there. Well, that's an island. It's there somewhere. Hopefully when it's built up a little bit more. Oh, there you go. You can see some of it now. It's not overly massive and there's still a lot of work to do. But it was essentially made to keep stuff ticking over. This is a temporary bridge which will eventually have a truck station and the like sorted. I haven't really worked that out entirely yet. We could take the truck over, but I figure we'll just go for a walk anyway, since I've got this lovely little bridge. Let's go. We've got a fair bit of space. So this would be the main entrance. The truck entrance, I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet, but we'll cover that later. See, to our right we have some power. To our left we have some construction. Not too much because we didn't need too much. But the idea is this bit here will be the main entrance. And then eventually this bit will be a massive sort of factory floor that's going to produce the plastic and the rubber. But again, this was just quick, easy, and it got me where I needed to get all of the stuff. This bridge leads across to the land where we have one oil refinery, which is basically just feeding this, which is a massive waste of resources at this stage because we could do a lot more. Now we have a lovely little walkway over our perfectly split oil generation. And here's where the magic starts. I can't remember if I've actually tidied up over here or if it's still in the construction phases. Ah, still construction. This will all get tidied up later. Ooh, that's where I left you. You're coming with me. So yeah, we have our pure iron thingy. Well, pure iron. Pure crude oil miner. Which we've reduced the clock speed on because we don't need that many. 151 per minute, because with 3 of these we need 150. So we are producing as much fuel as we possibly could, which is then coming along here. All of the belts are the closest they're needed for what their job is. Let's take some fuel. Fuel is important. We're going to need a lot of that as the time goes by. Right. Now, I see from the few other people playing the game, they have very inaccurate ways of sort of feeding things. I'm saying inaccurate, inefficient. They'll have a line and it'll feed off one into the other, giving you a daisy chain. So the first ones will top up first and the second and then third along the line, meaning the last ones will choke if you ever reach capacity, which is not ideal. So what I did is we have the main one coming in into an overflow tank, which comes through and hits this splitter, which then splits it 50-50 to these splitters, and these splitters split it 33, 33 and 33 to each of these. And the same on the other side. So the first 6 that come in, each of these oil refineries gets one of them. So they are efficiently fed at the same time, as long as there is 6 to share. This is something I've been working on through all of the bases, because eventually I want to get to the point where we are using everything. Like underclock, overclock, so that no belts are ever not being used. But that's a long way away, and it's going to be a pain, because it means, like, especially with the power generation, is ensuring all things are on at all times, and that we're using exactly what we're producing, which doesn't leave much room for error. It is possible. Probable, maybe not, but we shall see. That is one of the goals of me playing this game. I like to build and I like to keep things efficient. I want as much wasted space, well, as little wasted space as possible. So we're generating 1,536 megawatts, which isn't much, and we will be deleting some of that power supply. For now, it's more than we need, and we'll expand when and if necessary. So now we're going to head back the way we came and check out the last of the satellite bases onwards to try and find the bridge. Because obviously, if I'm using the truck for everything, the old bridge wasn't really fit for purpose. We could not get this truck along it. So I'd need to sort of adjust it, which wouldn't be that bad. We could just take out the middle. But I like the idea of the lanes, which under the current configuration should technically work. We'll find out soon enough when we test it, but it's not been fully tested yet, so I'm not sure. So at least one of the entrances is partially obscured, which could cause issue. Here we go. Even here you can kind of see there's a massive difference. So we have the main lane and then two side lanes, and it's this one to the left that worries me, because as previously mentioned, the sugar cubes just come through at full speed with no regards to anything. So I might have to use that as an entrance, or the way down, because quite frankly it's kind of run into that wall otherwise. This thing was massive, and as you can see, we're using the less slopey slopes so we can get faster up. And another thing I need to start sort of covering for while building things was access, because a lot of the bases are going to be in obscure places that are awkward. So I wanted to kind of leave gaps where we could go through. So here we have a nice sort of tunnel to go underneath. It doesn't really lead anywhere, but should I want to go up the original path, I can. And if you've noticed, one thing I struggled with previously was getting the walls in. But here now, we've managed to actually cover up all of the foundation pieces sideways, which isn't comfortable or easy to do. It doesn't like doing it. Well, there's a good example of sort of bugging into the half walls, because it is half walls all the way up, which it doesn't naturally want to build. It's quite against that. But yeah, here we go. Onto the main building I've been working on for the future. That little stairway just leads up to the iron and copper up there, because I needed some quickly while building. We'll ignore this little front bit here for now, which, although that does play a part, it's not really that necessary right now. But this is our coal generation station. So we now have that coal mine over there, and we have a truck run. This bit here is literally just so we can run the truck through. No other reason. We can go out that way, or we can go around and come out this way. So it doesn't actually impede our exploration. We can just cut through the building, which I thought was a nice little thing to add. We've also tried to not cut down as much as possible, which is hard because this thing basically just squashes everything it runs over. And you can see I'm having trouble with the paint here because it doesn't want to fit. Again, we go into the whole half walls and whatnot. It's awkward, but I think aesthetically it's kind of worth it in the end. Oh, it's buggy. Right, let's park him up out here, and then we can have a quick little tour of the coal manufacturing facility. Right, this will do. Okay. So here we go, we start. This leads into that main front building. Got some stairs going up, which we'll cover later. Initially, I wasn't going to have the stairs going up, but I decided that it was necessary for maintenance purposes, and you're not supposed to be there. That was probably when I was using the merger. So, out the back, again, another entrance to the side. We got our coal production. 2 belts. And we have 6 coal generators, which is nice. Making 300 megawatts. That doesn't seem legitimate. Maybe one of my cables has died. I'll have to look at that. But again, you can see here, we're splitting evenly into each of them. And I've hidden most of the pipes. Nice little rooms. So you still have access to them, but they are basically hidden, giving us a nice sort of aesthetic. Again here, most of it is mirrored where possible, but it's not entirely possible, which is an issue. Let's follow this power cable. Goes through there. Oh yeah, you're not connected to anything. That would be the problem. That's better. 900. So you can guess what's next. The truck room here. Another stairs upstairs. And pretty much identical, although raised, and slightly smaller room with another 6 coal generators. Oh, and there is a walkway that goes through as well, because we need walkways. Should probably raise that. But yeah, again, following the perfect split. So everything that comes here, everybody gets fed evenly. This is the one I had to bodge because it did not want to fit in this room. But again, we'll cover that in a bit more detail at the top because it's easier to see. Because I've essentially got another floor specifically just for keeping the conveyor belts and shite off the floor. And then one last one with again another 6. And this is a little more open because of the space confinements. Like there, it comes down here, hits this splitter, which goes into the 2 splitters that hit the 3. So it's kind of more obvious how we do it, because as previously mentioned, what people do is they'll have a line coming along, and then that line will feed into this one, then into this one, then into this one, this one, this one, this one, meaning this one has to wait until these are all full up before it really gets anything, which is not a good idea. It's poor planning. So let's head along here. Another half wall example as well, actually. And we'll head up and have a look at a bit of the framework. So you can see some of it coming through the truck run. Up our lovely stairs. This horrible green that was originally white. And we have a bit more of the actual floor. All of it has access panels because I want it to be open. Especially if we ever do share it, I want people to be able to run through. Right, there's a maintenance hatch, which we've not built to and we're not going to build to. It's just there so we can get to it. And this runs all the way along and into the truck stop, and we'll cover more as the building grows. This is a bloody big building. But yeah, each of these feeds down. We've seen that. And this is where the coal comes in from the main plant. It goes through here and here. You know, it's messy. Trying to get it perfectly balanced was a pain. And each comes through here. Hits this splitter, which splits into these 3, because we have 3 coal rooms. This one quite simply goes into here, through there, and then does all the splitting in that room that you saw. Which these ones are a bit more complicated, and they go round and down into their own split up here before being split into the 2 to go to the 3 down the bottom. But all in all, I think this is a pretty neat and tidy way of feeding this. It's a massive waste of space, I'm not going to lie. But it kind of feels better to me doing it this way. Because I don't want to encroach on the land too much. I want the natural beauty of the place. And I don't like the look. Just having these machines in the fields everywhere. It looks horrible, and conveyor belts everywhere. It's not the aesthetic we're going for. In here we just have roof access. Because we've got a big ass roof. We might as well have some access to it. And yeah. You can see it in a bit more detail because the roof doesn't stop the coal stacks coming through. That we've got that going. Now, this is pretty much done. It just needs painting, fleshing out. Hopefully they add some aesthetic items we can use to decorate the place a bit. Because it is empty in places. But all in all, I'm quite happy with how this turned out, even though it took forever and tons of coal, cement, materials, all sorts of shite. Same with that bridge, actually. That was expensive. But now, the third coal pipe goes up there. We'll go into more detail with that later. Have I got any coal in this cube? We do not. Let's get some coal. Do we have any coal? That is the interesting question. We can't really test it if there isn't any coal. I think I've turned you off. No, I have not turned you off, but you've disconnected for some reason. You are not supposed to disconnect. Huh. Okay. Well, we don't need much coal, so we'll just pick a bit up. We should probably do, although we can just start nicking all of this. Yeah, you're never going to make enough for me to actually stock. Right, that'll probably do. I keep the perpetual motion from the belt, which is awesome. Right, now this is a truck station. I plan on having one of these sort of sat at every base. Because the complication of the fueling and everything is a pain in the ass. And I thought about using multiples, like some using coal, some using oil, depending on what's nearby, but that's just a pain in the ass, so I have a better fix for that. So each station should have 2 entrances and 1 exit. If this works. Once I get the automation going and I see how it works, we'll work it out later. But essentially this one is for coal. So we've put some coal in, we've got nothing else. The idea is it'll drive along here. As it comes in, it'll stop and it'll collect some coal. Then when it's nice and full, it will drive out, which is a pain to do. I don't think it's going to work because manually it's just going to come flying through there. And then the end result is after that small little loop, it's got a lot of coal. Which actually we need to get rid of. Because again, the issue we had was transferring the fuel. So I figured if I have 1 truck or 1 sugar cube, that's automated loop is just to run around and refuel the stations. That solves that problem. I mean, it's going to cause the initial problem of it needs to hit every single one first. But there's really no way of avoiding that, so just have massive overflow. Don't really use much oil. So here we've got the fuel inside. This drives in. And it should unload the fuel. Which it has. And again, drives back out. And what this one does is literally just unload fuel. Which it doesn't have any of because it's just plonking it into the machine. So it's actually refueling this as we go. should do when it catches up. Right, so now we're going to the more hidden areas, because this is basically the way it drives. But this brings in the fuel, which goes around the top, and we'll cover that later. But eventually we'll come back down here, which if I stick enough fuel in here, we will see happen. Yeah, that should do. And then on this side, takes the coal, goes up, and drops it up in there, which you can't really, again, see. Now, there's no visual access panel in here, because it's quite confined. Hence why we have that funny little door over here. This leads up into the second floor of this. So on this side, this is where the fuel comes back in. And we have 2 overflow stacks for this. And it comes down here and gets split into both of our sort of truck stations, so that they can both refuel the sugar cubes that go to them. And same with the coal here, it just comes in this way, hits the overflow, hits the storage, and then gets sent down to the one that's going to be delivering coal. Nice and easy. But as discussed, I may need to expand this so the sugar cubes can get in and out better, and maybe then we can start worrying about adding a bit more visibility or a little more access. As you can see, it comes back down and then fills up our truck station with fuel. Beautiful. And then it'll be the same on the other side, because it is split, so they do fill up at the same time. This one is empty because it basically filled the truck up. Oops. So if we come over here, see it's now at 100. So it works. What we can do is actually just do that. There we go. That saves the journey. There you have it. That's what we're working on. That's what we're working on. That's the goal. That's the aim. Is to have these massive buildings that protrude massively into the landscape. Come on, up you go. You can make it. Yes. But also don't impede on the landscape. So all of this is here, it's visible, it's beautiful, but we still have massive amounts of production nestled inside. No massive conveyor belts running across the land. Just the occasional sugar cube driving around, creating pollution, both noise and air. If you enjoyed this episode, then tickle the like button, perhaps subscribe, and check out the rest of the channel. And why not join us on the Facebook, Twitter, Discord, and Patreon? Links are in the description and rolling through the credits right now. I've been Landis. This has been Satisfactory. Thank you very much, and see you soon.